Watch how I fuck. Watch how I break it down. I got walk on the way. Watch how they shaking now. Like a nigga two-way. Mixing this in and round. Cause Zpydr don't play. Got a whole lot of bitches around.
So basically, I wanted to give my opinion on this Shiloh Kendrix situation. Now, I wasn't surprised at all. I'm not shocked at all. You know why? Because this country has always been rewarding people for their blatant racism. This is one of the reasons why racism here in this country will never end. People don't really get penalized for being racist anymore the way that they used to. Now people are starting to get more blatant with it. And you know what? I don't think that Republicans are going to win the next presidential election. And I'm going to tell you why. Reason why that is because ever since these European people, you white people, y'all got so content. Y'all were sitting here complaining about the agendas. Y'all were sitting here complaining about freedom of speech and freedom of choice and all this bullshit. And then as soon as Trump got in office, y'all went right back to letting all that racism leak out your body. Okay, y'all basically forgot why y'all wanted Trump in office in the first place, and y'all just went back to your roots of who you truly are. I'm really not surprised. And the fact of the matter is, this woman was able to raise over $500,000 in one day for calling an autistic black child a racial slur. That's crazy. Karmelo Anthony sitting here fighting for his life. This man going to court, and people were angry that we were sitting here trying to help him. Black people were sitting here trying to help him get funds so that he can get adequate representation. They said that was racist. Everybody was talking about how racist it was. But now we get the opportunity for y'all to show us who y'all are, and y'all basically retire a woman. Y'all retired her for saying a racial slur. I'm not surprised though. You know, when I started talking about being conscious and being a black person and the black plight and all of that stuff, because I used to go to a predominantly white school. As soon as I talked about the black plight and what black people go through and all of that other stuff, I started losing a lot of my white friends. Not openly. I would sit here, be talking my opinion and speaking my mind. They wouldn't say nothing. They just disappear quietly. I just stopped hearing from them. Now, mind you, I don't care. I never really did care. But I'm just saying, my point is, I believe, me personally, that majority of these Euros, I would say about 90% of them are racist. Maybe there's 10% of Europeans, it's 10% of white people that's not racist. But in my opinion, from what I've experienced, I think majority of them are. Because if y'all weren't, Karmelo would have a lot more money than $500,000, that's for sure. And two, this woman would have never been able to get away with doing that. A lot of you would have condemned her, but you didn't. Y'all protected her. And when I was looking at a lot of the donations on her page, I saw most of the names were anonymous. Why is that? All them anonymous names. I was like, yeah, these people really showing me who they are. And we all know that children, this is 5 years old. Children like to touch stuff. They nosy. They always going where they ain't supposed to be going. They always doing what they ain't supposed to be doing. They always touching what ain't theirs. Right? Children always fighting over stuff, trying to touch stuff. They just curious. That's how children are, especially between 3 and 5 when they start getting mobile. 2 years old, they start putting their hands in everything, trying to eat everything, trying to touch everything. That's how children are. And this woman thought that calling this child a racial slur was the most adequate way to deal with the situation. Me, if you ever call me a racial slur, I'm a fear for my life. I have no idea what I might do, because that word got a lot of blood on it. I've been actually trying to not use that word as much as I can. I try to never use that word. I stopped typing it. When I was younger, I used to say that word. And then when I started to educate myself and I understood how ignorant and how detrimental that word was to my culture, I try my best to stop using it. And if I do, I backtrack, because there's no reason for that word to be used. But when I hear it, I'm going to feel like my life is in danger. When you want to use words that the Klan use and all those people use to try before they take the life of a black person, yeah, when you start speaking that Klansman talk, I'm going to feel like, hey, if I don't protect myself, something might happen to me. Because the people before me, anytime they heard that word, that was a sign of aggression. That was a sign of being attacked. But this woman, she's not going to do nothing. She's just going to run off with the bag and capitalize off the fact that she was being racist and all of that shit. You know how she should be treated? She should be treated like Casey Anthony's mother. You remember Casey Anthony, the woman that got away with her case and allegedly she was innocent? Man, when she tried to get online and be an influencer, you know what happened? People started putting her on blast. That's how you supposed to treat racists. Racism will never end in this country until these Euros get together with their people, all the racist people in their family, and they condemn them for the way that they are. And you know what I noticed? I see that it's typically the older ones, but the thing is, these younger people are nothing more than the people before them. They nothing more than their ancestors. King Leopold, Hitler, all those people, all those racist people, these people are nothing but the descendants of the same people that came before them. That's it. And I'm not surprised, because if they really cared about making a difference, they would. And we wouldn't have to be the ones to step up and speak on our own behalf. And the reason why they complain about it is because they just don't want to hear about it, but they want us to be quiet about it. But we ain't gonna let nothing like this slide, and we ain't gonna be quiet about it. We gonna speak about it, and I hope that woman's name and who she is go viral the same way Karmelo Anthony went viral. If you're gonna be racist and want to bag off of being racist, at least let everybody know who you are. Show your face. You don't gotta be scared. Most of these people agree with you anyway. Most of these people are your friends. They all over the place. They just waiting for somebody to do something that way that they can show their hand the same way that you show yours. But anyways, make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe, all that. I got more videos coming, and we out.